My presentation was not about the Macrobiotic coach certification that maybe some of you guys have. It's about my experience when I learned life coaching and how I applied it to my macrobiotic consultations. So it's more like an application of the techniques of life coaching and for macrobiotic consultants. And then how I applied this for my macrobiotic training. All my students in level 3 are learning these techniques, so they can achieve different kinds of goals. And the idea, my idea with this new style of counseling began when I finished my training in macrobiotics. You know, in the traditional, in case you know there is no tradition even in macrobiotics, but in the traditional macrobiotic counseling we learn how to do diagnosis. We do health questions, visual diagnosis, different kinds of them. And then we explain how to do diet recommendations or lifestyle recommendations. And we learn many things about macrobiotics, but how about dealing with people, you know? It's like, okay, I am in a consultation, I am like 1 hour and a half or maybe 2 hours or even more. That's usually happens to my students at first. Given recommendations on how to cook rice, you need to put the pressure cooker in that way or in some other way, and you do very exact details, and then the person, the client, don't do the diet. You know? And that usually happens. And it was really frustrating for me. Many of my many clients that I had, they respect me. They thought that I had lots of good information for them, but they didn't do the diet. And I think that it's the most important thing. You know, you can do the best recommendations, but if you can't make a person, or you can inspire this person to begin with the diet, it's useless, you know. So my point was there a technique or a system that I can learn, and also I can teach for giving these recommendations for the clients and helping the clients to do the diet. And then I learned life coaching. I don't know, I think many of you guys know what life coaching is, but I'm explaining it. Life coaching is a bit different thing about health coaching that Simon talked about last year. Life coaching is about when we want to do things in our lives, but we can't achieve them. For example, I have a bad relationship with my couple, for example, and I need to, I want to enhance this relationship, but I don't know how to do it. And in this way, we need to do some questions, and in life coaching, there are many kinds of interviews with the clients, so we assess them and we follow them in this process of getting a better life. Some interesting principles of life coaching that I think that they are really applied to macrobiotics is, the first one is, there is no plan or solution given in life coaching. Okay? And there is a reason why. I am not responsible for the other person's life, for my client's life. For example, if I give recommendations in terms of macrobiotics of how to cook rice, how to cook vegetables, and this person is traveling 5 days a week, it's useless, you know. I can give the recommendations, but the person is responsible to do their plans. You know what I mean? And also, we need to get the responsibility, when we need to define what is the responsibility of the coach and what is the responsibility of the client. You know, the coach, or here the macrobiotic counselor, have has the responsibility of giving the best diet. And the patient has the responsibility of creating the plan. It's the same as in life coaching. The life coach is not the responsible of the other person's lives. He is giving and he is assisting this person to give this person the best recommendations for him. But this person is the responsible of his life. And that's what we always have learned in macrobiotics. This person is the responsible of his or her life. Okay? That's a good point. And what I have seen in many consultations with some other students is that sometimes we are applying the same methods as medical doctors, in which the responsibility is of the doctor, you know. I'm going to the consultation and you give me the best recommendations and you are responsible for my life, and that's not what happens. That's what not it's going to happen. And especially for the students that are getting out of the schools, I think, in my opinion, that's what usually happens. That they feel responsible for the client's lives. Okay, and there must be a way of creating this separation. And then commitment. Commitment is very important because if you don't feel that there must be some commitment of the client, if the client is not committed to do what he wants to do for his or her life, it doesn't. It's useless again. And we need to be very honest that if we see that this person is not committed to do what this person wants to achieve, we need to tell them in a very respectful way, but we need to tell them. And sometimes, in my consultations right now, sometimes maybe half an hour later, we have discovered this person is not really committed to what this person wants to do. So we finish. Yeah. And when I learn all these things, I feel so relaxed and I feel really well because, sometimes I was charging all the responsibility of the clients, I felt that I wasn't good enough for them, and life coaching gave me all the explanations that I needed. Many of you maybe all these techniques, but what life coaching has given me is all these techniques are putting into a system, and we can have this system and apply to macrobiotic counseling. That is the point. So, in the regular tradition of macrobiotics, more or less the point is I put these arrows in two ways because sometimes it's not this order, but we need to know the health goals of the clients. Then we do some diagnosis. Then we give the recommendations, and then we have this ending. And what in my proposal of changing this kind of way we are doing some macrobiotics consultations, we are adding some points, but it's interesting because when it seems that if you add some more steps to this consultation, it is a longer consultation. What happens is the opposite, You add more steps, and then the consultation, instead of 2 hours, maybe it's 1 hour, or maybe 1 hour and a half. So this is the model that I'm applying right now in my consultations and also in my teachings. Okay? I added first a phase that is called the context. Context has to deal with expectations. What are the expectations of the clients? And we need to know especially in terms of my macrobiotic consultation, because I don't think there must be a regular or a standard macrobiotic consultations. Many of you guys can do whatever you want, but people must know what is a macrobiotic consultation for you. For example, what is macrobiotic consultations? I will have one session with you, or maybe one session and then one follow-up, or maybe after this session I can call you 3 times a week at late at night, for example, or I can send you an email. We need to address all these things, and also what is given in these consultations. Sometimes you can think that this is not important, but it's really important. It's really important because as professionals, we need to fulfill our client expectations, and that doesn't usually happen in macrobiotics. Many people come to my consultations and sometimes they feel that they want a macrobiotic cooking class or a teaching class. When I go to a consultation, some persons think that I'm trying to explain what macrobiotics is, and that is not my point. Even, for example, right now in my consultations, I don't usually explain how to cook things, basic things. If you need that, you can go to my classes, or you can see videos on the internet or whatever. And that is explained before the consultations and even at the first moment of the consultation, so my client knows exactly what to do, or what is a macrobiotic consultations for me. Because sometimes, I don't know if that happens to you guys, many people get out of the consultations and thought that it was not what they expected. So there must be, this point sometimes is really important. I think it's one of the most important points. Then I changed health goal for 7 minutes? Yeah. Okay. I will be quick. For challenge, health. In life coaching, we have a difference between goal and challenge. Goal is a thing that you do. You put your things. Someone tells you what to do, and you do it, and you get it, and that's right. And it's enough. A challenge, it means that we need to put some effort, and sometimes it's related to the idea of that I can't achieve it because I have some problems because of whatever. Okay? The idea is that this health goal or this challenge must be done by the client, must be expressed in a positive way, must be measurable. It doesn't have to be a number. Remember last year's talkings? But it has to be measured by the client. For example, many clients come to my consultation and they say to me, I want to be healthy. So what's healthy for you? Healthy for you is running 1 mile every day and being great and not being lazy or tired. Being healthy for you is going out every weekend with your friends. So we need to set this challenge, and this has to be also challenging for this person. And apart from that, the next point is the commitment, because we need to know what is this person's commitment. For example, I want to lose weight. I want to lose 4 kilos. Why you want to lose these 4 kilos? Because you want to fit in that dress that you are going to a wedding? Or maybe you want to look better? Or you feel that you are tired and you need to, or you feel very stiff and you need to, or you want to change that? And this is really a good commitment for you. We need to know this commitment, because whenever a person, when I'm doing then the next part, especially the recommendations part, and then I listen to the person and I see that this person not listening. In coaching we also talk about active listening, not only speaking, but also what the facial characters also are there. And when I see that this person is not very happy, then I go back to this commitment. So, did you remember? I tell this person, did you remember that you want to fit in that dress? Oh, yeah. Let's continue, okay? Because sometimes the person doesn't know exactly, and many people comes to our consultations and they don't know exactly what their commitment is. Okay? Many of them, even they don't have a commitment. That's what I was talking before. And we need to be very honest and tell them that really, if they are not committed, maybe the diet is not now for them. And then, this commitment must be done during all this phase, and especially at the ending. At the ending, it's very important for the person to, the last question that I have to my clients is, okay, what do you think of my recommendations? Very open question. So I can give the person the space to explain me what their thoughts are, what their things, or what do they think about these recommendations, if they can do it, if they can't do it. And this is very important, especially for new students, because sometimes, they are really so obsessed with giving a diet that they forgot this part. And they say, okay, these are the recommendations. Is this okay? Okay, let's go. Yeah, we need to create this space. Especially because if the person sees that the diet that I've given is really difficult for them to achieve, we need to discuss, we need to talk about how this person must follow this diet. Okay? So that's more or less, there are many things and many topics to talk about this. This is the model that I am teaching right now. And also, in this model there are some competences. Okay? This is really interesting because I think many of these competences would be very interesting not only for macrobiotic counselors but also for macrobiotic coaches right now. For example, active listening. Not only listen what I say, listen how I feel. For example, I say, you can't have milk. Okay. Yeah, maybe that's the point with you. Okay. Empathic listening. Very important in macrobiotics. Yeah. Okay. So empathic listening. Give proper feedback. Okay. Not you are very lazy and you're not doing the diet. That I've seen sometimes in my students. Asking the questions better than only give advice. Sometimes we talk too much, and I think in a macrobiotic consultation we need to talk very few, And also, what we call in life coaching, create discomfort in a very polite way. Oops. Because the person is going out this safe box that they are living. So we need to push them, but in a very polite way, to move forward to this new space. So, well, I don't have much time. If you have more questions about this, we can discuss them later. But this is my proposal, and also I think it would be really nice to include this into our macrobiotic. And I think many of you guys are doing, but I think it must be done, also written, in all our competences, code of ethics, and many of the things that we are teaching, learning. Okay, so that's it.